Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GDQ Hotfix Trans Day of Visibility Showcase. I am Quacksilver, once again joined by the Right Honorable Kuiper the Cat, and we are in the middle of our racing block. I have been so excited for this all weekend, and we are going to keep things moving right along with LeahKazuno running Diddy Kong Racing all trophy races. Leah, take it away.
Hello everyone. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit nervous for this, but this is a great game and I cannot wait to show it off. Um, this is all trophy races. We're going to be playing all 20 tracks in the game. I'm currently the world record holder for this category, um, as of about 3 months ago. Um, I think I'm really just going to get right into it. I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
So something you might be familiar with if you're, or I guess the thing that about Diddy Kong Racing speedruns that people are probably most familiar with is A-tapping. And it's a rather unconventional way to go fast in a racing game, where basically in the car vehicle, the A button will apply a burst of acceleration, but it will also give you traction on the ground, which slows you down. So the fastest way to move in the car is actually to tap the A button rhythmically. It's not so much mashing, that's a common misconception, but you want to tap the A button about once every 4 frames, and you want to really tap it, like ideally only for a frame at a time, to get the best effect from it. And speaking about frame rate, this game runs at 4 different frame rates. The most common is 20 FPS, which it's, running it for most of the time in this run. So that comes out to about 5 taps a second, which is very manageable, definitely not mashing. This is kind of a big track right here. This is Fossil Canyon. This is kind of the track where anything can happen, like that. It's like the hardest second track in all of gaming. Hardest second level ever.
These jumps.
Yeah, you get a lot of big jumps in this game. There is a strategy I'm going for in that canyon section. I didn't quite get it on either lap 1 or 2. Maybe I'll get it here. Oh, Tip-Top's in the way. Okay, no. Tip-Top screwed me there. That's fine. The strategy I would have liked to hit was called Canyonless, which is definitely not taken from a strategy in another N64 game. When you get you get a big jump into that canyon, and then you grab the balloon in the canyon, and then you shoot really fast over the finish line, hold a load of speed into the next lap as well. It's super cool when you do it. Ideally, I'd like to get under a minute on that track, but I kind of messed it up on lap 2 there, so I didn't quite get that. Also, this is a really fun car track. This is a fan favourite right here, Jungle Falls. It's hard to find someone who doesn't like this track, I'd say, even casually. Like, you really can't go wrong with this one. Just mess up lap 2 a little bit, but just a super solid car track. Really, Dino Domain is, except for this track, it's all like really nice, cool car tracks to build on your fundamentals. Also, we're in plane now, because a cool thing about this game is that we have 3 different vehicles, and don't worry about what I just did. So, when you see plane in DKR, it often means one thing, that we're not going to be going the intended way. So in this track, we've got 2 checkpoints we need to hit or we're out of bounds. It's really quite simple. We're kind of just flying a big loop here, one at the top, one at the bottom. And yeah, this is much faster than doing the track inbounds. The reason why the out-of-bounds clip works to begin with is because while we're in this barrel rolling state, we can't be affected by fluids such as water or lava. And so that allows us to actually just go right under the wall, and then the lava pops us back up to the top when we're underneath the wall. So we basically go right out of bounds. And speaking of vehicles, we've got the third vehicle, and the one that gets the least love in this run, sadly, Hovercraft. And casually, a lot of people dislike the Hovercraft intensely, but in speedrunning, it's actually really fun. Because it's not really clear how you're supposed to control it casually, but there's so much tech in this vehicle that makes it so fun to run with. The thing you might immediately notice is that I am snaking. Not to be confused with snaking an MKDS, which you might have just seen a lot of.
I think we still have a few MKDS heads still lingering in the chat. Snaking mentioned.
Yeah, in this game, what we mean by snaking is holding the R button when in the hovercraft, and then moving the joystick from up left to up right. This is because there's an inbuilt speed mechanic in the hovercraft, where you'll gain speed when turning, and holding the R button gives you much greater control over your turning as well. So we're basically just turning on straights here, constantly. And from one hover track running to another one, this is a really difficult hover track. It's definitely the hardest one in the run. This is Pirate Lagoon. Got a load of boost chains here. Missed it. So the thing about chaining boosts in Hovercraft is that you really want to do that as much as possible, so chain one boost into another without having to go back into A-tapping. This is because when you try building up your speed in Hover, you have to hold down the A button for a little bit before you can start A-tapping. We refer to that as like the takeoff in Hover. Oh, nice, sub 50. Anything sub 50 there is really good. And yeah, chaining boosts means that we can minimize the amount of takeoffs that we have to do, so yeah, you go zoomy zoom. Another thing you do in car is you can actually control the car while you're in the air to some extent by tilting up and down on the joystick. And there is one key place we do this in this track. It's on that big jump down into the ship, which is a bit of a bigger jump on laps 2 and 3. So when I'm going off this here, pull back on the joystick, get some extra air there. So yeah, lets us fly a little bit further, because while we're in the air, unless we pull back like too much, we don't really lose any speed while we're in the air with the car. So that's why jumps are so powerful in car, because you pretty much maintain all of your speed that you had before the jump. And yeah, that allows us to maximize the effect of it. And speaking of jumps in car, we've got another track coming up where we can hopefully get some jumps. This is Treasure Caves. This is a rather divisive track. Some people really like this one, some people don't. I'm not the biggest fan of this one, I gotta admit. Another thing to mention while we're doing these jumps in car is that when I'm landing, I'm trying to press the A button about a frame before I land from all of these jumps. If I do that successfully, I perform what's called an air tap, and that basically allows me to preserve more speed from a jump. You can kind of think of it as like tapping the A button, getting your wheels spinning before you hit the ground. That gives you a big burst of speed when you hit the ground. So yeah, that is already our second trophy done. We've got 5 trophies in this run. We're going on now to another plane track. This one actually doesn't have an out of bounds. At least in the 64 version, it does actually have an out of bounds in Diddy Racing DS, but we're not playing that today. So yeah, this is just a really difficult inbounds plane track. And this is a good time to mention that when we're in plane, we're actually a lot of the time not touching the A button at all, ideally. The barrel rolls that we're doing essentially act as boosts, and holding the A button would kind of slow us down during those, kind of taking us down to the vehicle's top speed. So yeah, we're trying to get through most of these plane tracks without touching the A button at all. And yeah, I've not touched the A button since I hit the first zip on lap 1. Oh no, except for there. If you bonk, you do have to kind of hold for a little bit to get your speed back up. But to the biggest extent possible, you do want to just keep it up with nice barrel rolls. Get a big boost chain here.
And a question from chat that I echo, because I think I may have concluded, and I don't want to conclude wrong. The bananas in the game are basically analogous to like Mario Kart coins, yes? They're just top speed increases?
Yes, that's exactly correct. Each banana will give you, it will add 2.5% to your top speed and acceleration. The effect caps at 10 bananas, but you can pick up more than 10, unlike the Mario Kart games. The effect that has is that when you hit a trap or get hit by an enemy missile, you will lose 2 bananas, so they can kind of act as some insurance. Not all tracks let you get up to 10 though. This one only lets you get up to 9, ideally. Sometimes those extra bananas are just too far out of the way to be worth going for. Yeah. This is quite a difficult kart track.
See the giant Nintendo and Rare decals on the wall. I love it.
You can get some really fun and big jumps in this track. This is another fan favorite car track, I'd say. Both casually and oh yeah, like if I get shot like that, I've gone down to 7 bananas now. Yeah, it's another fan favorite car track, both casually and in speedrunning, especially because of the music. And speaking of the music, it's worth noting that we actually tend to turn the music off when speedrunning this game, because it causes lag. We always keep it on for marathon runs, though, because people love the soundtrack in this game, and for good reason. It's one of the best soundtracks, I'd say, in gaming. It's iconic.
There's so much competition for that always, but I have to agree, this soundtrack does rip. Game composers are too good at their jobs.
Yeah. Snowflake Mountain, so this third world we're in right here, Snowflake Mountain is actually considered one of the hardest ones, even though it's, you know, not like the last one in the story. In speedrunning, it tends to be like, people say this is like the second hardest, or even the hardest world in speedrunning. And it's because you've got 3 really difficult car tracks, and also it starts with a very difficult plane track, so you really don't get a break here. This is another fan favorite music track, Frosty Village. And in speedrunning we tend to refer to this as the lag village, especially when we have music on. Because, yeah. I mentioned at the beginning that this game runs at about 4 different frame rates. We're going to see a lot of 15 FPS here. There's the snow particles, and in this section with the fog on the screen, that causes lag. You also get really big jumps. Lag is not always a bad thing. Oh dear. Kind of the main effect it has, because it affects the physics, the main effect that lag has is that when you're building speed, lag makes it a bit harder to build speed. So ideally you want to have like a nice 30 FPS when you're at the start of a boost, or trying to accelerate from 0. But towards the end of a boost, in the second half of the boost, you like getting a good lag spike if you can, to really prolong that boost dying out. And something I did forget to mention in car is that when we're coming off the boost, we don't actually want to immediately go back into our normal A-tapping speed. We kind of want to ease back into it. That's called feathering. It's definitely hard to get a feel for, but yeah, it makes your boost last much longer. Back into hover now, and actually our last hover track in the run. There are only 3 out of 20 hover tracks in this run. Unfortunately, doesn't really get much love. But yeah, this is I'd say the easiest hop track in the run, and probably my favourite. At the beginning here, we go for a... well, if I missed a balloon there, so I couldn't quite go for it, but bonking in hover is not always a bad thing, like that. Whereas in car and plane, bonking is almost always a massive time loss. Especially in plane. In hover, bonking can actually be really helpful, because it kind of pushes you, depending on your angle, it kind of pushes you. You can think of the hover as like a big rubber band ball, basically. Nice 30 FPS boost there, by the way. Some sections will be 30 FPS, even if you do have the music on to create extra lag. Oh, it's got a 110 now, that's pretty decent. But yeah, unfortunately no more hover now, but going into another fairly difficult car track here, Greenwood Village. Actually, a lot of people had a lot of trouble with the silver coin challenge for this race, which we don't do silver coin challenges in all trophy races, but yeah, this is a pretty infamous silver coin challenge. Almost feels impossible to beat when you're first playing through the game. Especially when you don't have... Yes?
Question from chat, but just off of that, how long have you been speedrunning this game? When did you get into Diddy Kong Racing? Also, since it's a somewhat a vintage game at this point, well, I'm already feeling old for NKDS.
Yeah, very good question. I've kind of been casually watching DKR speedruns since like 2019, 2018, but I didn't really start running the game myself until 2021. And I'd say 2022 is when I started to get really good at it. I picked up the world record in this category about 3 months ago, right before the end of the year. And yeah, this is a super fun game with an amazing community. Especially after having met some of them in real life at last ESA. They're just the coolest people to hang out with, be it in voice chat or in real life. Yeah. The community's done so much for me in this game. Actually got a very difficult out of bounds right here. I'm not looking too hot for 7 bananas here, I'm not gonna lie. Got it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a bit harder. The amount of bananas you have is really important here. Like, I'm kind of not feeling too comfy if I'm going for that with 7 bananas. But I somehow made it work. Yeah, this is Wimble Plains. This is the hardest out of bounds track, or at least the hardest out of bounds that we tend to do in RTA runs. It's not just that the out of bounds clip is difficult, it's also that this has the hardest out of bounds movement. Got a lot of verticality changes here, there's a lot of lag out of bounds. I'm trying to do these turns with the checkpoints here without touching the A button, and yeah, there's a lot of lag that makes it. Sometimes it means I lose a lot of speed on these turns. But yeah, thankfully I made that work. And last track at Dragon Forest here, this is Haunted Woods. Another rather difficult card track. Honestly, most of the card tracks are quite hard. Yeah, especially that turn. That is kind of a blind turn. I'm pretty much letting off the drift there and just pressing the B button. The B button is not so much a brake in this game, it's more of a turning tool. Ah, too wide there. Get a lot of speed there if that worked properly. Maybe I get on lap 3. B button's more of a turning tool in this game than a brake. Let's see if I get this. Nice.
Goldilocks. Too narrow, too wide, just right.
Alright. So last trophy, we're about to go into the last trophy here. Something I actually forgot to mention is that you can set up a cartridge to have Adventure 2 not unlocked, which I forgot to play on my card to set up like that here. That would save like 4 menuing presses throughout the run, which is extremely minor. I do it in world record. Yeah. Going into the last trophy now, and this is actually often the first trophy when you're grinding this category, because you can do the trophies in any order. Oh, and this is a extremely difficult track. This is considered the hardest track in the game, generally. This track does have an out of bounds, but it's not really viable for RTA runs, only really in ILs. And yeah, there's so much that can go wrong here. Gotta be really on your toes. Yeah. Oh. This is why we start with this track usually. I say usually because I've actually found some success starting with Snowflake Mountain and then doing this tricky second. But yeah, big speed. So this should be a bit better. Ah, rather unclean SDA, unfortunately. Space Dust Alley.
I was like, Speed Demos Archive. It always got me rooted in the past of speedrunning with all these older gen games.
Question from chat here. Why do you play as a clock? Because fast. Yeah, TT the Clock is the best character in this game. Use him for almost everything in speedrunning, including every RTA category. He's allowed in speedruns because he's tied to the cartridge, like he's a cartridge level unlock. One sec. Oh, I didn't get it. Don't worry about what I just did. All that. That's absolutely nothing. Anyway.
Cool. Understood.
Yeah, TT he has the highest top speed, he has a good acceleration, and he has average handling, but average handling is actually a really good thing in this game, because you don't want to be turning too much. If you try running this game, you really find out that, like, this game's kind of built around TT's handling. It's like magic. Nah. It really feels like it was made with TT in mind. Nice. Nice.
Oh.
That's the out of bounds. It's easier on the second loop than it is on the first one, but yes. You can kind of fall off the loops if you touch the so if you kind of touch it where the boost starts, kind of perpendicularly against the wall. Did I get it? Oh. Then you kind of get set up at a 90-degree angle. And yeah, you can kind of fly out of bounds with that and fly to the finish a lot sooner. Mr. Ponytail in chat giving a gift sub, because the tradition is to give a gift sub for every loop skip you hit in a run.
What is world record hit? 6?
We don't actually tend to go for those in RTA runs. I like going for them in marathon runs, so it's really cool if I hit one, but it's a bit too risky to go for an RTA. You lose about a second if you miss them.
Got it.
Getting it off the first loop saves about 5 seconds, so really big time save, but it's also maybe like a 2% chance you get it. So not really worth it. And the second loop, it saves a lot less, but you can get it up to like maybe a 40% chance if it goes. But yeah, not too much left here. This is the second to last track, Star City, and one of the prettiest tracks, I'd say. Shout out to Pride Tunnel. This is just kind of like peak N64 aesthetics right here, I'd say. This entire world is like that, so like with all the funky colours and stuff. It's futuristic aesthetic. It's especially nice if like you never even knew this world existed as a kid. Also, that was a 111, that's a pretty good time. Like a lot of kids probably never knew that Future Funland even existed, but yeah, it's quite a magical world. I've got the final track here. This is a plane track. You probably know what that means. This is a Japanese-only out of bounds, and it's kind of simple actually. Oh no, didn't get the balloon. That should be fine. Nice. So basically, they just forgot to put a polygon there. The Japanese version was the first release of the game, and they completely forgot to put a polygon there, so you can actually just like fall out of bounds. It's really simple. And not too much left to go here. We've got 3 checkpoints we've got to hit there, kind of like in a triangle pattern. So time is going to stop as soon as I cross the finish line on lap 3. So yeah, about 10 seconds from now. Oops. Sorry to hit time early. There. That is all trophy races. That is about a minute and a half off world record. I made a lot of mistakes on that run, but I mean, I showed off the main stuff.
No,
really
yeah, everything that was on display was sick. GG.
Yeah, you really can't go wrong speedrunning this game, honestly. Absolute blast. I'd say... I'm gonna sound biased if I say it's like just a top 3 speed game of all time.
I mean, while you're on the screen, I can't disagree with you.
Yeah, I think this is just such a deep game. It's got so much to it. It's this game's given me so much. Also try Diddy Kong Racing DS if you're interested in that. I legally have to promote Diddy Kong Racing DS at every opportunity while I'm here. And yeah, shout out to the entire DKR community. If I list off names, I'm definitely going to forget people, so I won't do that. But like the entire community, as I was saying, is just so cool, so supportive. Yeah, it's given me so much, and yeah, I'm happy to be here and show this off. That is really about all I have to say. So I will hand it back over to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. GG again, Leah. We are going to take a quick break here as we pivot across Monkey Ball into Sega from racing, but we are still very much going fast throughout all the afternoon, so you are not going to want to miss a single thing. We'll be right back.